Why it sucked to be born as a megalodon. Imagine being born into a world where every single day is a brutal, unforgiving struggle for survival. This wasn't just a possibility for the ancient megalodon, it was its reality. Its life was a truly challenging existence, far from the apex predator fantasy we often envision. While awe-inspiring in its size and power, the megalodon faced a constant barrage of threats and limitations. These weren't minor inconveniences, they were fundamental hurdles. These factors ultimately contributed to its extinction, painting a picture of a creature whose reign was anything but easy. The megalodon was a creature of truly colossal proportions, reaching lengths of up to 20 meters. While impressive, this immense size presented significant logistical challenges for its daily life. It wasn't just about being big, it was about the burden of that bigness. Such a massive body required an absolutely enormous caloric intake to sustain itself. This necessitated a relentless, almost obsessive pursuit of prey, day in and day out. Its diet included formidable creatures like whales, dolphins, and other large marine animals. The sheer energy expenditure of hunting these giants was staggering. Every chase, every attack, demanded immense physical output. Compounding this was the unpredictable nature of finding enough food in the vast, open ocean. This likely led to frequent periods of starvation, a terrifying prospect for any creature, let alone one of this magnitude. Its increased vulnerability during food scarcity would have been a constant, gnawing worry. There was an unending, relentless pressure to eat, to find the next meal. The exhaustion from chasing down powerful prey must have been immense, a perpetual state of high-stakes exertion. And with every encounter, every struggle, came the very real risk of injury, a wound that could spell disaster for such a large, active hunter. Despite its fearsome reputation, the megalodon's dominance was far from absolute. It faced stiff competition from other large predators that shared its ancient oceans. This wasn't a solitary reign, it was a crowded, dangerous neighborhood. Other formidable sharks, some nearly as large, vied for the same resources. Early whales, powerful and intelligent, also presented a challenge, both as prey and as competitors. They all competed for the same limited food sources, intensifying the struggle for survival. The megalodon was constantly forced to fight for its place in the ecosystem, its position never truly secure. This meant an ever-present risk of injury from competitive encounters, battles that could leave lasting damage. Such conflicts were not just about food, they were about survival. The potential for starvation due to resource competition was a very real threat. If another predator got to the prime hunting grounds first, or if prey populations shifted, the megalodon could easily find itself hungry. Its size was a blessing, but also a curse in a competitive world. The megalodon's existence was intrinsically linked to a specific environment. It thrived in warm, shallow waters, which were abundant during the Miocene and Pliocene epochs. These conditions provided the perfect hunting grounds and ample prey. However, the Earth's climate began to shift dramatically over millions of years. This led to significant cooling temperatures across the globe, fundamentally altering ocean conditions. These changes also caused drastic fluctuations in sea levels. As a result, the megalodon's preferred habitats began to shrink, becoming less hospitable. It was forced to adapt to these new conditions or face the grim reality of extinction. This wasn't a gradual decline, it was a fundamental challenge to its way of life. The shrinking of its prime hunting grounds meant less space to find the massive quantities of food it needed. This also led to the potential for prey populations to decline, as their own habitats were affected. All of these factors placed immense pressure on the species. The very environment that had allowed it to flourish eventually turned against it. Its specialized nature, once an advantage, became a critical vulnerability. The megalodon was a creature of its time, and that time was rapidly changing. Sharks generally have relatively slow reproductive rates compared to many other marine animals. For the megalodon, this characteristic proved to be a significant disadvantage in a changing world. It meant fewer offspring were born into a challenging environment. These offspring also required a longer time to reach maturity, delaying their contribution to the population. This made the species less resilient to environmental pressures and sudden population declines. They simply couldn't bounce back quickly. They were less able to recover from any significant population declines, whether from environmental shifts or other factors. This slow rate made them particularly vulnerable to single catastrophic events. A bad year could have devastating consequences. Disease outbreaks, for instance, could have had a disproportionate impact on a species with limited reproductive output. Similarly, significant changes in prey availability could have starved a generation. Any major disruption could have had a devastating impact on the entire population. This slow, deliberate reproductive strategy, while perhaps effective in stable times, became a critical weakness when the world began to change. It was a biological bottleneck that ultimately contributed to its downfall. The megalodon simply couldn't keep up. The megalodon was undoubtedly a formidable predator, a true titan of the ancient oceans. Yet, its existence was far from easy, a constant battle for survival against overwhelming odds. It was a life of immense challenges, not effortless dominance. Its story is a testament to the harsh realities of life in the prehistoric oceans, where even the largest and most powerful creatures faced insurmountable obstacles. The megalodon's reign, while impressive, was ultimately an unsustainable lifestyle in a world that refused to stand still. If you loved this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to TinyTelly for more fun, wild, and wonderful stories every week. See you next time.